All right, guys, it's the Autohound again, and today we are just doing a test drive in my 2003 Toyota RAV4. This is my first point of view on this particular vehicle, and I just want to make sure we have all the settings dialed in. And I'm going to show you everything good, bad, and the ugly of doing this. This is actually clipped onto a hat, which is mounted backward on my head. I can't put it on the brim just because I just don't think I can see as well as I would like to as I'm driving the car. And if it's a safety issue, you certainly don't want to be doing it. So clipping it on backwards actually angles it down quite nicely, and I'm able to get everything in the frame. At least that's what I'm looking at on the video camera. So here we go. This car, 187,389 miles on it, and the check engine light is always on, has been on now for I would say the last 6-8 months. It just turns out that it's an evap canister, which doesn't necessarily impact the performance of the car whatsoever. And also, you know what, the warm amber glow check engine light, not necessarily a bad thing. People think, oh, check engine. Well, I bring this car into my mechanic regularly. He checks it over, makes sure that it runs properly and smoothly. I get good gas mileage still, anywhere between 23 to 27 miles to the gallon. I have the remote starter on it. It definitely has been the stalwart of my entire car fleet, if you will. Speaking of car fleet, so let's kind of go over the cars that we currently have. Right now we have, of course, this 2003 Toyota RAV4. We also have a 2020 Jaguar E-Pace, and we have a 2000 Porsche Boxster S. The 2000 Porsche Boxster S is now for sale, as there will be a new vehicle coming into the fleet, and that video will be released very, very soon. I'm very excited about the new addition to the fleet, and I will be taking some pictures of that, and of course the videos is going to be amazing. So what we're doing in this car is going to get some food to watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat up on the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you're a Philadelphia fan, I'm sorry, but your team is going to be outclassed today by the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers. This car handles extremely well. I'm very surprised at what it has been for these past 12 years that I've owned it. It is not very fast. It is serviceable. It's absolutely huge inside. Take a look. There's art out the back, a short little distance out the back of the car. In addition to that, this car has what I like to call a fun factor. It's a very much point and shoot little car. It's not your 200 horsepower car. I doubt it even at this point is making more than 110, but it gets up and it goes. Right now we're doing 40 miles an hour. It's in third gear. It's going to kick down to 25. Not third gear, excuse me. It's at 3,000 RPM, kick down to about 2,000, and we're cruising. It's not terribly uncomfortable to drive in. The seats are still good. Toyota makes a very good product. I am always impressed when I get in this car, and it starts up every day, and it shuts off perfectly every day, and it doesn't have the stutters and stops and sputters of your typical kind of used car. I know every bump in mileage on this thing. We got it with 72,000 miles. We put over 110,000 on it, and I put very little money into it, with the exception of a new air conditioning condenser and a new gas tank strap, because that eventually rusted out. Because I live in the Northeast, and what do you expect? So what we're going to do here is jump up on the highway and going to my destination, so that you can see how this car actually handles at speed. It's fun. I can't say enough about it. And the other thing is, with used car prices being what they are, it doesn't make any sense to go out and buy something that's a used car is if your current car runs. The old adage was that, it's as you add up all of the costs associated with owning a car, and that addition by fixing it is cheaper than a used car, then you fix it. Then if it's not, then you don't. However, with used cars going up, 30, 40, even 50% in most cases, what's happening is people are choosing to fix their cars. So if something goes wrong with this car, I'm going to fix it. If the valve covers go on it, I'll fix it. If the transmission goes, I'll replace it. It'll be $3,000 to $4,000 as opposed to $40,000, which is the average price of a used car in the United States right now. As you can see, the car handles well. There's no kind of bumps or shakes or shimmies, and we're doing 65 miles an hour, and it handles great. Now, again, I don't drive 100 miles an hour in this car because it's not what it's designed for. It's a small little point-and-shoot SUV. A former co-worker of mine called it a roller skates, which I thought was kind of funny because she was used to driving a big Dodge Ram, and it made more sense for her to disparage my little car. Oh no, Autohound, that's terrible. So, as long as you are driving a car and it runs well and is designed properly and you're not having constant issues with it breaking down, I just think it only makes sense to continue to keep the car moving and going and, make sure you have all of the repairs done on it. What I try to do every year is go through this car from stem to stern, and actually tomorrow she's going in for her, what I like to call annual service. You can see the steering wheel does not shake a whole heck of a lot. I'm not on a straightaway right now, I'm on a corner, so I don't want to let go of the wheel. But once we get to the straightaway up here, you'll actually see that it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So just kind of jumping in here, and this corner just is interminably long. It always has been. It's been on Route 95 here in the Peabody, Mass area. This is straight, and the car handles wonderfully. It doesn't pull, it doesn't shimmy, it doesn't shake, and I've said that before. What we're trying to do is make sure we get, a couple 100,000 miles out of this car. I'd like to get it up to 300,000 miles and drive it for another 5 to 10 years. But that really depends on the car and, financial situations. And, I just don't want to get myself into a car loan that just makes no sense. I'd rather own the car outright and, like I said, keep fixing it. Eventually, the chip shortage on the, in the world for cars and computers and graphics cards and whatnot, eventually that chip shortage is going to go away. And when it does, it's going to take a couple of years for these car companies to replenish their supplies. And once they start to produce new cars again en masse, then the used car market will then eventually come crashing down. But with this car being worth about $5,000 as it sits, I think it's really kind of fantastic. Everything that we do at Autohound is to show you the viewer that we've got your mind at back in that we have your back in mind when we are driving and when we are buying a new car or a used car. It doesn't make any sense to go buy something brand new if what you already have works, if you're going to drive the way that we do, which is always out there trying to have some fun. People, obviously, when you do drive a 20-year-old car, or not, 18, 19-year-old car, they look at you and they're like, well, can you afford anything better? And the answer is, yeah, we could go out and buy something brand new and, enjoy that, but why at this point is no sense. Drive what you have and enjoy what you have. This has been a great car. I look forward to it all the time. I also want to just chat briefly about my Range Rover video, and I know that I made a couple of references to it on my live stream, but we were over 5,100 views and we gained 35 new subscribers, so up to 111 subscribers. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot and it sounds dorky, but I am incredibly thankful to all of you. The 4,000 or so people who watched it and didn't subscribe, please subscribe. The more subscribers that we have, the more content that I can create. Again, you all know this is my second job. I have a real first-time, full-time job, and that's what takes up the majority of my time. However, this is fun. Oh, look, an old H1 Hummer. That's really cool. Those are going up in value ridiculously. That car is probably $50,000 or $60,000. And just take a look over here at this car dealership. There's virtually no cars on the lot. Look at that. It's virtually empty. And that's where this whole shortage is coming from. And we run into this all the time. You pull into car dealerships or pull past car dealerships. They used to have hundreds of cars on the lot, and now they have, maybe 50, maybe 75. Here's a company that's doing well, Carvana, right over here. Carvana does very, very well. But they're getting cars in, and they, doing their best to purchase, decent cars. I don't know much about buying a car online, nor that I think I ever would, but you never know. The future is fickle. You'll say you won't do something, then you will. Much the same as my Tesla video, where I said, look, I wouldn't buy a Tesla, but at this point I probably would, as soon as they get the technology down where they can charge one of those cars as fast as you can fill a tank of gas. And that's eventually is going to happen. I don't see it happening soon, but it may happen. So look, I want to say thank you once again all for watching. Thank you for choosing our channel to check these things out. If you have any comments, please make sure you do comment. Make sure you like and make sure you subscribe. And once again, it's about the drive.